right about that. I'm gonna leave this interview being a freaking vegan, and I'm okay with that.
Having a conversation with you that's a little more normal and just like down to earth makes me think a little differently about it. So
Today I'm in the French Quarter interviewing people about this quote. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. What do you think about that?
wow, that's a lot. So as far as first being ridiculed, I think that if it's a truth, obviously, that is different than what people already inherently believe or have been taught, then yeah, that makes sense, that it's ridiculed and people are very opposed to that. So that certainly makes sense to me that initially there'd be that huge pushback.
For some reason, it's reminded me like when you're drunk, like stuff when you do, like first you're trying to like on denial, you're like, no, that didn't happen. Why did I do that, And then you kind of start to accept it. Like at the end, it's kind of like, you end up telling everybody it's a fun story. It's like a funny story or something. It's kind of giving me like those vibes.
Can you think of examples throughout history where something was mocked and opposed and then accepted as evident?
I think there have probably been a lot of things. I mean, like we're sitting here in New Orleans, Louisiana, right? And so, I mean, there's obviously slavery. Slavery is a good example of like something that people thought was very okay, depending on what their perspective was, right? Yeah. And that we, depending on where we grow up and where we learn things from and, who teaches us, we have a different perspective on what it is. I don't think that people who owned slaves thought that they were bad people.
You see everybody's doing it, so you feel like, oh, I'm not doing anything wrong, or what I'm doing is right because everybody else is doing it or acting that way.
Do you think that's like good logic, like if everyone does something?
No. Oh, hell no. Hell no.
I don't think people set out to be degrading or malicious. Yeah, I think for the most part, people do the best they have with what, the best they can with what they have.
And the way I see morality evolving is giving more groups moral concern. And what I think is going to be the next forefront is going to be animals. What do you think about animals and animal rights? Do you think they should have rights?
Oh, 100%, like 1,000%. I'm an animal lover. Like, I honestly think that animals deserve better than humans. Like honestly, like they're magnificent. They don't do anything wrong. I think that animals definitely need the same rights as we do. Like, it's just not fair because they can stand up for themselves and they can be like, hey, no, hold on, you're not doing that to me. Then now we're gonna do all that stuff to them, Yeah. So I feel like we need to look out for them.
What is your relationship with animals like? Do you like them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have pets. As far as like wild animals, I love to just see animals in nature. I think there's like a whole ecosystem out there. There are a ton of animals, obviously, I don't understand, but I love learning about them, and I'm always amazed with what I learn about, animals in the ocean and stuff that I've never really thought about. Yeah, like I've never thought about how intelligent they might be because they're not intelligent in the same way that we demonstrate our intelligence, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a really good distinction you made there, which is they don't demonstrate their intelligence in the same way. Doesn't mean they're not intelligent, right? So like we have dogs and cats. What about other animals like pigs and chickens and cows and kind of the food industry? What do you think about that?
I'm not a vegetarian. I haven't been able to do it. I've been trying to. But yeah, I find that so cruel too. The way they're living situations, the way that they're raised just to like literally give me eggs, give me your meat, and then you're done. It's kind of like, what?
To me, there's not really a moral difference between pigs and cows and cats or dogs. Would you agree with that?
I want to say yes, but at the same time, I am totally okay eating beef and pork, but not cat and dog. Like, just culturally, that's what I've grown up with, and so it seems. But like, I know I lived in a house once where the people behind us had a cow, and he acted like a dog. Like, I could go back to the fence and talk to him, and he would kind of jump around and play. And when I saw the slaughter truck come for him, I was really sad, but it was like acceptable.
You said you love animals. Do you think it makes sense to love animals and also pay for them to be chopped up?
I feel bad. I feel horrible, but I also feel like it kind of put some of my culture there. Since I was a kid, like all of my foods that I've been eating, it has some type of meat in it. Sure. Either has pork, chicken, beef, something. So I'm kind of used to eating and there is meat in there. So when it's not meat, I feel weird. I don't get full or something. So like I feel bad for it. Don't get me wrong. And as I said, I have tried to become a vegetarian, but it only lasts so long.
I guess I haven't thought much about it. I guess like I'm one of those people, maybe like I'm kind of fooling myself. Like I buy, I make it a point to buy cage-free eggs and, like things like that. Like I think I'm doing my part, but I also buy bacon.
Well, that's another really good point, is that the meat and dairy industry, they know what people want, which is we want to believe that these animals have a happy life and a nice death. So they put that on the labels. So it'll say like humane or cage-free. Cage-free is certainly better than caged, but in reality, they're just crammed in a shed. All egg-laying hens are still going to be slaughtered. They're still going to be exploited, and they still are never going to see the light of day till they go to a slaughter truck. So it's one of those things that those labels, I think it shows that you care about animals, that you are buying the better ones, but at the end of the day, the labels are there for us and our consciences, not for the animals. So you almost feel like you have to eat meat?
In a way, kind of. Like, at least for myself, I feel like I personally have to eat meat.
Yeah, I felt the same thing, and I grew up in a culture that also, Tennessee barbecue, like that kind of thing. And then I learned that it's actually pretty easy to avoid, and they have substitutes for everything. But let's say like the cultural thing. Do you think just because something's cultural, like does that make it moral?
No, I will say no, definitely not. Just because it's normal in a culture doesn't mean that that's okay.
Pigs, for example, when they're born, they're castrated without anesthetic, their teeth are cut out and their tails are cut off. Do you know why they would do that?
No, why would they do that?
Yeah, because they go insane in the conditions that they're kept in. So if their teeth and tails aren't cut off, they'll like bite each other's tails off because, they're so smart and confined that they just go insane. And then when they're slaughtered, most people don't know this, they're actually killed in gas chambers, CO2 gas. It's considered like a humane method of killing them. Do you think there's like a humane way to kill an animal when they don't need to die?
When they don't need to die.
Yeah, like if you just wanted to.
I don't think there's a humane way to kill anybody. Even if it's like an accident, I would say that's not like humane. But I guess there's ways to kill them less painful.
Less painfully, but when say you could kill them painfully, less painfully, or not at all, what do you think is better?
I mean, I will definitely go for the not at all, unless he was like, okay, I have to put my dog down. I have to do this.
If they're suffering.
I have to, I haven't eaten in a month. I don't know, something.
Yeah. Do you think the taste pleasure you would get from eating these products, does that justify what happens to animals?
Absolutely not. I mean, when you put it that way, absolutely not, right? Like, what kind of person would say yes? It kind of, it makes me go, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do, I can't sit here and make a commitment that I won't eat meat, but it definitely makes me think about it a little bit, for sure. Maybe not.
Do you think there is a good justification for harming animals when you don't need to?
No, I just, no, period.
So do you think there is a good justification to take the life of an animal when you don't need to?
No.
All right. Do you have any questions for me?
No, we've had this conversation and you're going to walk away and I'm going to sit here and think some more because you have presented me with some things that I haven't thought a lot about, even those, like I said, I've seen some videos about how pigs are treated and it's usually this shock value of look at this. And I'm always like, ugh, I don't want to look at that.
Right.
And so to have that kind of pushed in that way it's not as impactful to me because I'm like, you're just trying to make me feel like crap.
Yeah.
But then having a conversation with you that's a little more normal and it just down to earth makes me think a little differently about it.
If you could live a life where you intentionally harmed humans, intentionally harmed animals, or neither, what would you choose?
I would choose neither, yeah.
Do you think going vegan would be closer to that goal?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
All right, and I'll give you resources, and the important thing to remember is that you do have that choice every day, and it's never been easier than in 2022.
Yeah, and you're right about that. I'm gonna leave this interview being a freaking vegan, and I'm okay with that. Because I said, I've been trying. It's been hard, but that's great. Having resources and stuff that you can learn how to supplement stuff or do this instead is great, and I haven't had that, so getting that is like amazing.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Nat. I really appreciated that.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, consider joining my Patreon. You'll get early access, exclusive content, and part of your money goes toward animal rights organizations. Last month, we donated $68 to Farm Sanctuary. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons, Amy, Andy, Deepak, and Rebecca.